So this is my finished StuG for the StuG Life group build that I am hosting. I went with just Dunkelgelb and some weathering. The main reason there was no camo was because I have airbrush issues right now. And I think I'm just going to get like one of those cheap Veda ones and see if I can start with a new gravity feed one to kind of fix some of my problems, because I've had some of these airbrushes for a long time and I think they're all cluttered up and horrible. Anyway, so the things that were not successful about this, and I am still kind of new to this, so I will just be completely honest, and since I work in professional art field, actually I'm teaching art right now, I like to go over what I did wrong in a post-mortem kind of way, like what did we not achieve correctly. My wash consistency was off, so it just didn't stick the way I wanted it to. That was the main issue, but let's go over what it did do. Paint is this. I love this stuff. When I first started doing German stuff, well, before I was even back into it, I had used the Model Master stuff, which is kind of green. But nowadays, it's actually quite simple, the way I do things. If it's, 1943-ish, I use XF60, and if it's like 45, I'll just either mix a bunch of this in or use just this. This actually looks really good as late war Dunkelgelb. It's really surprising, because everybody always compliments me on the tones. They're like, oh man, it looks really good. What is that? I'm like, Tamiya XF60. So that's all it was. And I wanted to do a green kind of spiderwebby camo. I tried one, didn't like it, and then sprayed it back over because the airbrush just wasn't as controllable as I wanted it to be. Alright, so anything other than that happened to this thing was detail painting was after that. So how I do that stuff. Hang on, grabbing paint bottles here. No, can't find it, so screw it. I mix that with black of also model color for all of this stuff, like that, and axe handles and the jack. So it's a little dark in here, even though I have like every light in the world on. So, but that's how I do that stuff. The wood, I usually use actually sort of just browns, and then try to wash them for stuff like this. I do have things like old wood and whatever, but I don't really use them for jack blocks. All of the wood handles were done with dark flesh because it looks like sort of newish wood, and I wanted this thing to be kind of newish. So if you look at this little guy here, or like that, and as long as you wash them with something later, it kind of looks like wood, I think. And then my track cable color is, this is the weirdest thing that I do, Panzerhase's track primer. It's like it looks like a steel rusty color, so it just works. I don't know if it's easy to tell on this or not, but it's pretty convincing. So, alright, so apart from that, let's see. Oh, the last thing. Bakelite, which is what these bolt cutters have as handles. It's like a reddish. I use Shadow Flesh. I think it looks pretty convincing for that as well. Might be a little too bright, but again, once you tone stuff down. So once that stuff was all done, because that's what I do Dunkelgelb, and then I had wheels and stuff separated. I ended up using this guy right here to mask the wheels and rollers. This is one of these Alliance masks. They work okay because you have to it's really fiddly. You have to hold it like this and kind of push the wheel up against there. And then at that point I've also taped over the roller hole. So then you can spray one while you're holding it. But then it's a huge issue to get that one off of there without messing the paint up, and then get the next one in without getting paint that had been on the front of here on it. So you can do about 2 in a row, and then you've got to wipe this thing down with alcohol or something. They worked pretty well, but it was fiddly. But it worked. So then this time around, clear coated with Future, not with Aqua Gloss, because I was getting weird splotchy results with aqua gloss. So then decals happened. If you look at the Stahlhelm unit insignia, you can see some bubbles in there. That is unfortunate. There wasn't too much wrong when I did decals, and what I did was water, then Microsol, then Solvaset, I think. These went pretty well. There's still some shine. I'm going to put another coat of dull coat on this thing. You can see it right there, a little specular highlight up in here. So they went okay. It was the only one that I didn't like was this guy here. And I could, in theory, just poke him, and I could have put more on there, but I didn't really notice it. It was a few days later, and I didn't want to bother. So I'm very, very busy right now, and I just wanted to get the thing done. So wash. Now that's where I think a big problem with what I did was. I used this stuff. However, this stuff is too thick out of the bottle, and I think I thin it too thinly. I also did an oil wash before that because I had gotten great results with an oil wash a year ago when I did a dangerous cat sig on ISM. So I put it on, and it kind of came off completely, and then I tried to put it, like, so if you look in here, like in this, there should be wash there and there's not, and there should be a wash around here and there's not. I would put it on and it would just all come off. So I think my consistency was just wrong. So I'm gonna have to figure out either a different method of mixing, like a more, I don't know if I'm just eyeballing it like an idiot, but it wasn't right. So I feel like the wash phase, and what it ended up doing was staining a lot of the paintwork and not sitting in around things. Now alright, so in video game texturing, which is my job, what we call that is surface interaction, right? So wherever a bolt hits steel and it's tightened, grime will build up there, rust will happen there. That is the purpose of washes, and I don't have that, which makes the model look kind of flat and toy-like. In some places it kind of worked, but in like around there a little, but not enough in places like this, like I said up there. And then if you look around where I tried to wash around the tools, you end up with just sort of staining. Right there it looks pretty good, but like right here it looks kind of ugh. So, and then as a build critique, this cable went okay. This one I could never get to set down right. So it just kind of flops up in like a really unrealistic way right there. And then I've seen Panzermeister 36's video since then, how it clamps them with these little, with these guys, right here, like while it's, before the fenders are even on the thing, and that's a great idea. So that's what I will be doing in the future. Okay, so then after decals, clear coated again, washed again, or attempted to, so there's like 2 or 3 failed washes. It was pretty funny. The rust streaking, which if you look at it, I think is too light. Now, I left it that way on purpose, and I'll tell you why, and what I used was this. Rust, when a chip happens, and for some reason I didn't do the lighter color around these chips either. I don't know what I was smoking when I was making this thing, but what I'm trying to convey with this right now is what happens to paint as the rust starts to soak into the paintwork before it starts to like fully chip off and streak heavily. Like if you look at a car that has like a recent chip, you'll get sort of rust-colored paint before you get like a proper big streak. Either that or I'll just do it again. So that's what I did there. Also, if you look at the grenades and the smoke launchers, they look a little too shiny yet, and I think I used this like model colored Panzer Gray for that, and I didn't love that. So most of what I'm doing is complaining about what I don't like about this model. That's what I do. But okay. Last couple of things I did was the tracks, which I really like the way that I do tracks. There's not much about what I do that I like. You'll notice that about me. I want to get him to catch the light correctly. Well, there'll be pictures so you can see it, but I really like the way my tracks come out. And I will tell you what I do, because I don't do it like anybody else. I think Panzermeister does it similarly, but not exactly. Okay, so I build them completely. And then I prime them black, which is super normal. Then I completely coat them with this Japanese Ground Self-Defense Force Brown, XF72, which gives them a... it's a little bit lighter than that, but it's just sort of a light, whatever. It's similar to this track primer color, which is why I bought it in the first place, because I don't spray this stuff, and I just wanted to find something similar, but if you look at it, it's more brown than gray. Then, again, thin dark wash. I kind of try to sludge wash them, I guess, just to make sure that the dark stuff sits into all the little bits. Then I took a mixture of... which one was it? I want to say it was, because I don't have the mixture anymore. It was like this sort of mid rust tone, and then one of my lighter dirts, or either a lighter rust was mixed in with that to make like a... I do this a lot. I'll mix these two together to get like a neutral rust, or I mixed in some like dirt to get like a rusty brown. It's rust, but I don't want it straight up rust. Then that goes in between, you know, the surfaces, and then I go back over top of the surfaces with this natural steel, which some people say is too bright, but I don't think it is, because your other option is to use this, which I've done before, and it looks pretty good. Gunmetal's going to turn out dull, and steel's going to turn out super shiny. But I like the super shiny. I like high contrast because it's a model and I want it to pop out. If it's too subtle, it doesn't work for me. It doesn't read. So that's how I do tracks. And then in the end, I did a pigment pass over everything with... it's quite a lot, actually, because I'm trying to get into dusting things better, because I don't usually do that. So it started with this. Now this is okay, but it has kind of a weird, like a... I don't know if you can see that. It almost looks like chocolate muffin mix or something. It's a little unnatural looking to me, the tone. It's a little too clay-like. So I did some dust with that. Didn't really love it. So then I started building up other browns, like this guy's good. And then I had a mixture of this and like a rust, which is how I get like a nice brown, because I don't really have a mid-brown, so I'll just mix these together. So that's what ended up kind of on that front plate. You can see it, but again, that clay tone just sticks out a little too much. I think that's kind of all there was. I think I tried to do some streaking grime on there, but I don't think it was terribly successful. I think that may just be the case with these smaller vehicles. You've got such a little amount. You know, I tried to do some rust there, but there's such a little amount of space, at least for me. Oh, and I skipped that. That's silly of me. Nope. This one's really important. Well, I don't know where the bottle is, but the chipping pass was done with model color black brown, which is what everybody uses. So it's number 150. And I did some like lighter colored chipping, like up here and stuff. And how I do that is, once it is right base coated with this airbrush style, and then I can actually go right over top of that with the same paint with a brush, and it looks lighter, because the black prime with the lighter airbrush coat is a darker tone. So I don't even need to mix a lighter tone. I just use the exact same paint on a brush and it works fine. But I just didn't do as much of it this time around. And then I think, by the way, anything like this, I use, is it like dark rubber or something? Well, there's the black brown. That's the chipping color I used. But I think everybody uses that. But for padding and stuff, like on that this guy here, I'll mix together like a dark rubber and like a little bit of green, because if you look at pictures of this stuff, it tends to have like a greenish, leathery, weird look to it. So, and then there was oils, like a dot filter I did, fading, and it really only shows up like on these guys here. They look a little milky and lighter. And then there's some kind of striations and streaks in some of these panels. But so that's basically everything I did. Sorry if that was boring, but I thought I'd just go over it. My favorite thing about this thing, the work that I did after build, was that jack, because it was sprayed Dunkelgelb, and then I just I took the mixture of steel and black and then just like dab painted it so that it looks like it used to be painted yellow, but now it's scraped off, excuse me. So I thought that was pretty cool. Yeah, that's about it. And I just dirtied up the wheels and the underside of the hull a bit, just enough to give it like a, I don't know, kind of a chalky look to it, but not a ton. I am writing some classes for next semester at my school, which starts on the 24th, and it's I don't know what the date is, but it's about a week away. So I needed to get this done. It's done. There's a lot I don't like. There's some I do. I finally got tracks how I... See, like, this came out exactly how I wanted. And the rest of it came out... you know? So, but in the end, it was fun. And these kits are awesome. So I'll throw up some pictures. Sorry for rambling for 15 minutes, but that is my process on the StuG.